everyone. I am stoked that you decided to come back and join me here on my channel. It's your girl, Dr. Lou, otherwise known as the Community Clinician on Instagram. Feel free, please like, subscribe, and share this video if this sounds like anything that you are going through or you feel like your friends or anyone in your network might relate to. If you haven't done so just yet, I really encourage you to go and check out my previous videos that shares a little bit about why I decided to create this channel, a lot of my own thoughts and experiences that led me to the place that I am right now, and just different ways that I think about dating and Christianity, the influence of religion on how we date and who we are when we date. And so if that sounds like something that, someone that might be interested in, I really encourage you to share this video with them so that they too can be a part of the discussion that we are having. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you to everyone for subscribing so far. I am excited about just the space for us to talk about this thing. So this week we're continuing the conversation in my series, Starting from Scratch, how we can rethink, revamp, and reimagine Christian dating. I am loving this series and the conversations that I have been having with so many of you. And as it's been helpful for me, I hope it will be helpful for you. And even if you don't agree or even if you question some of the things that I talk about, please feel free to drop those in the comments so that we could chop it up a little bit about how you think and how I think, because alone we don't know everything, but together we know so much more. And so I am just stoked that you are back. Last video I talked about, how to enjoy the road trip, how in the dating process we don't have to abandon our desires, our goals, anything that, we want regarding marriage or family or children. We don't have to give that up to imagine dating in a new way, or to even have fun in the dating process. And so I hope that for many of you, you have started to think about ways to be in the same car, headed in the same direction, but focusing on the road trip and how to have a really, really great road trip. And so today I thought it might be helpful for us to continue along that same path in that discussion and talk about what are some of the things that come up for us when we think about dating in a new way? So I would want to encourage you to think about, what is it that causes you to hold on to the normative concepts of dating, or what I consider to be the older concept of dating, which is dating for marriage, dating for courtship, entering into the dating experience solely with the focus of not really getting to know someone, or just getting to know someone for the purpose of evaluating them for marriage. Holding on to that concept or embracing that thinking, or the challenges that may come up for you in letting that sort of thinking go. What is attached to that for you? It's really, really interesting as I think about my own journey, and I think about what has held me in that sort of frame of mind when I think about how I used to date as a Christian and the sole focus on marriage. And for me, themes around shame and stigma come up. Even some themes around my own sense of self and my own self-worth has been attached to that sort of thinking in a very, very destructive way. And so it makes me curious if it has been destructive for you, or if it has felt healthy and beneficial for you. But I know that there's a shame that has been attached to dating as a Christian if that relationship did not end in marriage or was not for the sole purpose of marriage. And for many of us, especially as young women, young Christian women who are dating, that shame really does cement itself and settle itself in our identity and our self-worth in a way that I don't think is healthy. And there's the underlying theme that if a relationship doesn't work out, then there's something wrong with you. And, for myself, when I thought about ways that I had to really dig deep and address and acknowledge that sense of shame or whatever it was that was coming up for me, and how I was going to regain some sense of agency over myself and over my emotions, I realized that I had to do, the really hard work of separating and individuating myself and my thoughts and my concepts from those of my family, those of my friends, those of the people that I had been raised around, and a lot of the lessons that I had been taught about who I was within a dating relationship. And it wasn't always easy, especially being able to find my voice and express how I was feeling, and being able to regain control over my own experience, my own feelings, and my own emotions, knowing that unsettling, that negative response or reaction or pressure that I was feeling was causing me to compromise my values, was causing me to compromise my sense of self, and was really challenging who I was within myself, who I was within my church, who I was within, my friendships, and who I was within my relationship. And I knew that there was no way for me that was how I wanted to exist or coexist with someone. And I felt really, really convicted that was not who and what God wanted for me to feel in relationships. And so I have had to have some of those really direct and straightforward conversations, those who mean the world to me, about where I stood, and what I required and needed of them whenever I decided or felt safe or ready enough to share that aspect of my life, and really explicitly stating that I no longer wanted to give in to the pressure. I no longer wanted to date solely with the focus or the pressure of marriage, that I wanted to focus on establishing and building a healthy and happy relationship that felt good and felt right for me. And I had to really voice and stand confidently, and that's where I was, and ensure that the people around me knew that those are the values that I, held for myself, and what I required of them. And so I really, really want to encourage you to explore, what are the concepts or the feelings that have been attached to this way of dating for you, that may require you to address it in a way that may be similar or very different to the way that I did. But at the end of the day, gets you to a place where you feel healthy and whole and fully, totally empowered and affirmed in the way in which you choose to embrace and approach dating, whether you decide to marry or not. That piece is critical, and that piece you certainly deserve. And I don't believe that that's how God wants us to experience interactions with each other. I don't believe that's how God wants us to think about ourselves or think about each other. The fact that there must be something wrong with me or something wrong with him is just not a way that I wanted to continue to feel or experience myself or experience another person. I remember for a very, very long time, and still to some degrees now, it's been difficult finding the balance between, do I share that I'm in a relationship, or will I share that I'm in a relationship when I get engaged? And I know that I'm not the only person who has had that frame of thinking before, this idea that when the ring makes it final, that's when I'll reveal to the world that I have been in this relationship. And I think underlying that sort of thinking is the idea of, what if I introduce people to this person or introduce people to this relationship that I am building, and it doesn't end in marriage? What will they say about me? Will I look silly? Will I look foolish the entire entire process of removing videos or pictures from your social media page? When do people start noticing that the pictures are not going up as often as they used to, or the pictures are decreasing more than they used to? And I think that beneath a lot of the surface of these ways in which we have operated in our relationships is this pervading sense of shame and self-worth that has been tied to relationships that don't end in marriage. And because of that, I think it's even more critical that we create and reimagine relationships in a positive, healthy, affirming framework. One that doesn't cause us to feel down or low about ourselves if we choose to end or walk away from relationships, or feel as if other people may no longer see value in us because relationships ended. And I believe that that sense of shame and that sense of or that lack of value has really, really caused and added a lot of pressure into how we date, into how we rush the process, and has stolen a lot of the joys that come from just being in a relationship with someone and building a healthy, powerful, affirming, happy, healthy space for each other. And so I really, really want you to think about what sorts of themes has been attached to this concept of dating for marriage for you, that you will have to really maybe wrestle with, or take some steps back, or really dig deep to explore. What will it mean for me to date in a new way, for me to approach getting to know someone or being in a relationship with someone in a new way? And how do I help those that are around me, those that are in my community, in my network, to understand that my self-worth, my value, my joy is not tied to marriage, is not tied to an altar. It really isn't even tied to this relationship. And so it gives us freedom. It liberates us to be able to date in a way that is healthy and happy and whole. And that is my goal for us all in creating this Starting From Scratch series, because to be able to really process the concepts tied to dating for marriage, we really have to get to the bottom and to the very root of these concepts and where they have come from for us. So that's really, really where I wanted us to just start to think about. I also want you to think about this approach to entering the dating space. Many of us are along the entire spectrum of dating, whether we are dating exclusively, just entering the pool, and so very much eager and willing to meet somebody and get to know them. And wherever you are along the dating process, I want you to think about how you are entering into that space. When I go shopping, sometimes I plan exactly where I'm going. I know my favorite stores, and that is where I have saved some money. I've budgeted a couple dollars to be able to go to my favorite store. I know what I might be looking for. I know exactly what I need. And so that's where I'm going, and that's where I'm going to shop. There are other times where it's not so much planned. I might be driving home, and across the lane, I might see a sign that tells me that this store might have this huge sale, whether it's one of my favorite stores or a store that I don't really shop in as often. And that just kind of catches my attention and it pulls me in that direction. Or I might see something on someone or something online or on TV that, just kind of says, all right, I hadn't thought about that before, but I'm going to go and check that out. And dating in many ways is the very same way. And how we approach the dating experience is the very same way. For some, there are very specific and strict guidelines to how they have planned this thing out, how you may have decided that you are going to date. You know exactly where you're going to look, what sort of places you're going to go in, what you're looking for, what it must look like, what it must feel like, the price range. You have planned it out to a T. And that is how you are entering the dating experience. And for others of you, it may be more impulsive. It may be that you are more open to if it happens and where it happens and how it happens. And so it's not so much a rigid or narrow approach that you have taken, but really being able to be open to the experience. You may be in a particular place or meet someone along, the road, taking a walk or going to the store or going to the grocery. You have no idea. You have no specific list of what that person should look like. You're just kind of freely embracing the entire scope of the dating experience. And so I really, really want you to think about, how are you entering the dating experience? How are you entering into this space? For those of you who may be more planned and specific, and this is how I want it to happen, this is how I have prayed for it to happen, and I want you to think about whether or not the planning and the preparation has led to too rigid of a space for you to freely experience and enjoy this process and this moment. Planning is not bad, preparing is not bad, but sometimes we have made dating such a rigid thing for us that it's hard to meet someone new and to experience something in a way that we may have never imagined. And so we haven't really opened ourselves up to truly just connecting in a way that we may not have been able to foresee, a way that we may not have been able to, plan and prep and put all in the right spaces and dot every I and cross every T. And it doesn't come in this really nice little package bowl. But if we are going to reimagine dating, that includes reimagining our approach to dating. And so I really, really want you to think about where you are. And if you are on the other end of the spectrum, where you are just so totally free and so totally open, there can also be the tendency for you to be too open to too many things that can really compromise your desires, compromise what you need or what you want, or how to just maintain a sense of safety and boundaries in the dating experience as well, which I will be talking about a little later on. So where I really want you and us all really to get to in this dating reframe and how we are revamping and rethinking about this thing is somewhere in the middle, where we know that this is something that we want. We know that we want to have a good time, make connections, and meet dope people, while not being able to maintain rigidity or this narrow way that it must happen, but creating a sense of openness, a sense of freedom, a sense of fun, and a sense of safe space for you to experience something in a fresh way that might just blow your very socks off. So I can't wait to come back. Next video, we will talk some more about what that middle space looks like and how to really achieve and find that balance so that we can all enjoy dating during this time, whether you are doing it virtually due to the Rona, or you are prepping for summer or for fall and being able to meet someone new and make some really, really dope connections. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I will be back soon and we will continue to talk some more about how we are going to start from scratch and improve our dating experience as Christians. Bye.